Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Travis Told You. Monday, November 24th, 2025. We're almost near the end of it. Kind of crazy to me that 2026, that feel like 2025 just brushed past. And I talked about this last episode. Just getting older, time moves in mysterious ways, being busy. If you got kids out there, you understand. Just feel like it's just time sync, time warp. Luckily, lots of good things happening. Had a good weekend with the kiddos. Busy weekend at times as well too. But yeah, it's been and even today had to get the twins 1 year shots. Yikes! 4 needles into a 1-year-old times 2. Not fun. Luckily, they're very happy in the morning. And they took a couple minutes and they're very happy after. But during, no, not so much. The first 2, not as bad. First one, barely feel it. Second one, okay, there's some pain. But when they see 3 and 4 coming, they know. Especially Sid, poor Sid, she's sitting there watching Valerie. She goes through them all and like, she didn't know, but she knew enough. Like, okay, some bad stuff's about to happen to me. What's happening to my sister? But yeah, so that's why I'm a little later. I didn't know time and whatnot. And yeah, it's gonna be kind of a weird week this week for Tress. Told you because I'm going to. What am I going to do here? So I got Knives Out tomorrow, and then Stranger Things is Wednesday, I guess, at night. And I guess I am seeing Zootopia, so I'm not sure if I'll be reviewing that or not, but usually Travis Told You is Monday to Wednesday, 11 a.m. PST as of right now currently. I think I'm going to be on I think Thursday, unless maybe it's early Friday. I don't know, but the next episode will be Stranger Things because no one else is either watching it or they don't have the time like Taylor. So I will be doing that, and yeah, so that's where this week kind of all over. This one I wasn't sure when it was going to happen, and then the next one will happen maybe even like Wednesday night if I finish it and I'll record it late. It won't be live, so just look out. There will be a review for Stranger Things Volume 1. If there's any massive news, maybe I'll do some sort of new, like a Travis Told You bonus one or edition or something like that. But I don't think there's going to be. I think, obviously, shout out to all the American listeners. You guys got your Thanksgiving coming up. So I imagine because of that, news is going to go pretty quiet. I feel like for for Christmas, it usually does it as well too. So we're in the big time where we're gonna get lots of trailers. We're gonna get lots of news like we'll talk today about Wiccan box office. But for news, I feel like it's gonna quiet down. But we'll be there. We got the Video Game Awards coming up too. That should be a good time. I know I'll be on the predictions. I'm hoping to be on the actual cast, but as I've talked about before, Nutcracker with Gwen, just multiple days a week, just taken up. So good times. But yeah, today just one topic. We're talking Wicked. We're talking the movie because I did actually see it. Didn't think I was going to, but I did see it. What was I gonna say? So if you've not seen the movie, I will talk about the box office first, and then I'm going to talk about a non-spoilers review, and then we're going to do a spoilers review. This is not going to be a big in-depth or anything like that, so the spoilers review will be the last thing. So if you want to, you can bow to that point if you're planning on seeing it at any point, and I'll get into some of my thoughts there because I did see it with the girls, and yeah, which was I knew the reason I took them early because I'm like, oh, they're gonna get asked about it. Logan first went drop her off at school, and 2 of her friends came. You see Wicked? You see Wicked? And they started talking about that, so that was fun. So I was glad to be able to do that with them. But yeah, we'll get right down to the box office as far as Wicked having a massive weekend here, coming in at $147 million. Second biggest box office of the year, or sorry, opening of the year, just behind Minecraft, and then second biggest Universal of all time, beats Super Mario. So okay, there you go, not too bad. Or wait, what is it here? Oh, it's actually because that's why it came a little lower. That's why. So it came a little. The actuals came in lower. So top 5 Universal 3-day weekend of all time goes Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom. Jesus. Furious 7 and then Wicked for Good. So beat Mario to take the 4th slot. So not too shabby, obviously. And that's why too, like we talk about with Mario, people thinking it might do lower. Like I could see it still also doing bigger. Like Wicked did, right? And Wicked, huge jump from where is it here? The percentage of 30% glow up from Wicked's 112, and that's someone's article. I'm not putting glow up there. From $112.5 million opening. Pretty good. Now, where's it going to land? I guess some other things too that I thought was good here. For top 10 opening weekends post-COVID, this ranks at number 8. It goes Lilo and Stitch, Super Mario, Wicked for Good, Inside Out, Barbie, Minecraft, Wakanda Forever, Multiverse Madness, Deadpool, Wolverine, Spider-Man No Way Home. Pretty good for those other ones too. Like I know they're like it's top 10 post COVID, but still Lilo and Stitch, Mario, Wicked for Good, Inside Out 2, Barbie, newer ones that are getting past these 140 million. So again, box office can struggle at times, but it still seems like we got some big stuff there. I think there's a lot more disappointment nowadays, and I'm not surprised per se. I thought it would be. Like I've said this before, the box office is just kind of all over nowadays of what's going to do good, what's not going to do good. I really don't know. Like I know for the most part, like I got a general idea, right? Just like the idea of how well it's going to do or how bad it's going to do, right? I feel like it's a lot of Wild Wild West. And with this one, we talked about the newscast. I said if it were to hit a billion, wouldn't surprise me. If it were to finish exactly where the first one did, wouldn't surprise me at all. Mike says 10th highest preview of all time. So there you go, which is pretty good all time. That's pretty good, which makes sense because I feel, and that's my thing where I am interested. I still think this is going to do better than the first one, but I think where I landed on the newscast was like same ballpark or a little bit better because obviously you have sorry, I gotta change this. There we go. Give me some more light. My God. You have Zootopia right on the way, which is tracking really well, which again, I couldn't believe the guys in the newscast go back thinking it wasn't. It's like, no, Zootopia. Taylor still thinks Zootopia 2 is beating Avatar, and there's some movie bets going on about that. The coward wouldn't accept a pizza bet. He was scared. But you have that, and then you have Avatar, right? So those are two big head honchos coming out, gonna take up a lot of real estate. Especially I think Zootopia. Like I think in a world where it's Thanksgiving or Christmas, if you're going to see a family movie, I feel like Wicked wins out over Avatar. I think Avatar just has like a lot of big fans of the Na'vi and Pandora and the foreign market, right? So it has lots of big fans of that. But I still feel like if you're looking at the family movie with or Zootopia versus Wicked, Wicked probably wins out a bit more because Zootopia wins out a bit more just because if you have young people in there, you might not want to risk it, especially if it's like a darker one. So I still feel like that's going to hurt it a little bit. And I do think word of mouth, which I'll talk about with my review, I think that the few people I've talked to, other than Mike, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I saw your letterbox, the 5 but the people that I have in my circles or my sister, like, I feel like the general sense is not as good as the first, right? And eventually that will spread, and you'll have people that go for repeat viewings and really want to see it. But I think the thing that Wicked 1 had was a lot of trepidation of, okay, are they going to pull this off? And then all I heard was good word of mouth, right? And even myself, I had no interest in Wicked, didn't enjoy those trailers, thought okay. And even some of the look of the movie, I don't think it looks the greatest, but look on paper's okay. I don't think this is going to be something for me. It's going to look kind of more like on the just box office slop, like just putting out a big popular brand. And, oh, hang on. Oh, a couple good neck cracks there. I feel like people that weren't that excited for it either loved it or got really excited for it or enjoyed it, and I was in that camp too. I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it after the fact. First time I saw it, I fell asleep the first 15 minutes because lots to sing, not a musical guy, so I always say that, right? But then when I actually sat down and watched it with the girls, I did enjoy it. I did like it way more than I thought I was going to, right? Where I don't feel like that's the sense. It's also tough when you come out as like a surprise, right? I feel like there's tons of people that, other than actually my mom was excited for Wicked, saw it and was like, I cannot see that second one. But other than that person, it's tough to have kind of that surprise, and then a lot of people go out for it, and then the second one you can't almost re-surprise them because they're expecting to be surprised, but there's no surprise anymore, right? So it's that sort of sense. Mike says less competition than last year, though. Really, more than let's see, Avatar and Zootopia, I feel like are pretty big. I'd have to see. Let me see what came out in the fall, or did Wicked? Yeah, it came out in the fall, right? Let me take a look here. So Wicked came out. Well, not Wicked Little Letters. That's something else. So Wicked, yeah, okay, part 1. So Gladiator, which that to me was not competition. Moana 2, okay, that is, and I'd say, well. That's tough though, right? Because Moana 2 in retrospect was big competition, but it's the same thing as Zootopia where it felt like, hey, what's it going to be? It's been so long. But also I still feel like Zootopia is bigger because Zootopia was $1 billion movie and Moana 1 wasn't, right? So I still put Zootopia over Moana 2. And then in December, what do we got here? First showing page will just work with me here. You got Night Bitch. You got Werewolves, Y2K. You got Kraven the Hunter and Lord of the Rings, War of Rohirrim. And then, okay, so you do have Lion King and Sonic. I guess the good thing for that, though, and why I think it's a little different, though, Mike, is because Zootopia, well, I guess Moana was right away, right? Was Moana the week after or a couple weeks? No, it was right after. It's honestly, it's pretty It's pretty similar. And at the same point, though, even though Lion King did become a big movie, I still think Lion or Avatar is bigger than Craven, Lord of the Rings, Sonic, and Lion King all put together. So I think I still give the edge this year because I think Zootopia is a little bigger than Moana, and Avatar is bigger than all those. But I think that I think they're comparable. Mike thinks the Moana 2 crowd dips into the Wiki crowd more. Uh I don't know. I think other than just singing, I think Zootopia and Moana are pretty comparable. You know, like I know there is songs and singing, so I guess you got that, but I think Lion King, I agree with you, Mufasa. I think that dips into it more. I think that just feels more of a big musical, which I know like Moana has that aspect, but I just feel like there is a just more of the animated, oh, I want to see cute baby Moana's sister. I want to see Pooh. Like I feel like it dips into more of that type of stuff, right? But Mufasa, I'd give you. So, but I actually think they're pretty comparable because I think Avatar, for obviously it's not a musical and doesn't dip in that crowd. It just gets a lot of GA people, right? There could be a lot of people going, if they are thinking about which one they're going to see and they hear a lot of, oh, Wicked's not as good as the first one, well, maybe I'm going to wait to see the blue people. Avatar, I'm very excited to see how it does because I'm not excited for that movie, but I think Taylor is right in one sense where not that Zootopia 2 is going to beat it, but in the sense that the second one did have a special, it's been a long time, right? Where now it is only 2-3 years later, right? Kind of that has worn off. The thing is, though, if people love that second one, they will come back, right? So I think this is a good test. I still think it's going to lower than Avatar 2, but my feelings haven't changed. I feel like with Wicked, it's gonna end up. The last one was what, like 646 or 740 to 760. I still think it's gonna get into like that. I still think 800 is possible. I don't think 900 is because I don't think it. I like to give my thoughts. I did not like it nearly as much as one. My kids did not like it as much as one. I'm interested to see because I got to go see it again. They both said that they enjoyed the first one a lot more. They mostly said because the songs, but I could just tell in general. And it is darker to an extent, but it is darker. So it does, at the same time, though, Oppenheimer, Endgame are also exclusive or examples of darker, big movies that do well, right? So if it's dark and it even Return of the King, if it's dark but still plays well with its base audience, you're fine. You don't really have to worry about it. So to me, I think it just comes more down to the quality of it. And we'll have to see, but I just don't think that buzz is going to be there like the first one, and even for the Oscars too. Like I know Mike and other people, you guys are on the bandwagon are on winning. I could see her getting nommed. I don't think she's winning that. I don't think this movie's getting Best Picture nomination, and that's where I can transition into my review. That I did not really enjoy this movie, and I don't know if I was, and I don't think it is, but maybe I am an example of I don't have much excitement for that first one. I watched it, I'm surprised. But even at that point, I watched it months later, right? So I was expecting a lot of people really liked it. So it's almost like you're expecting that hype, right? We've talked about before, you get overhyped or expectations can get to you. So I would have thought, oh, lots of people have talked this up. I've seen Taylor give it a 5 out of 5. I don't think I'm going to think it's that hot shit, right? Now, granted, I don't think it's as good as that, but I still really enjoyed it, right? Great songs, great performances. I think the movie, like I said, does not look the greatest. I think there's certain elements that I don't enjoy from this and the second part, and that's where people go, oh, that happens in the play. That's fine. Then it's me critiquing the play. Same way as a book, same way as a comic book. That's where it goes. So I never want people to use that as a crutch for any critiques I have for it here as far as the second part. So the first one did surprise me. I did enjoy it. I was like a 7.58, somewhere in there. Where this, I was very close to failing it. There is one reveal near the end of this movie. I'm sorry, Mike, you're still in the chat, or you listen to this after. You're going to hate me saying this. And this movie felt like this a few times. There's some like Rise of Skywalker isms in this movie where there's just reveals or revelations or twists that don't feel earned whatsoever. They just feel like out of the blue, where especially one twist, I was like, this can't be real, right? Like just the way they show it in the movie, this can't be real, right? And I searched it up and it's like, oh, this plays a huge plot point in the play, in the book. I mean, huge plot point, like huge, like, like what's happening there? Like, I don't like huge. So I think for me, there's some of that. And there's also somewhere it's tough because it is darker, but it feels like they try to dip into, and I'm sure it might even play better as a play because you're with the crowd and the audience and feeling some laughter. But I feel like there's times where it tries to be kind of lighthearted and fun like that first one, but it comes off as like Minecrafty in a way. And I hate saying that, but there's at times the movie feels very childish where to me, the first one plays like that, and that's completely fine because it's like that classic Force Awakens, and I guess making a lot of the Star Wars isms. There's no Last Jedi comparison, I guess, here. So just Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker, where you're meeting new characters, you're meeting new worlds, you're falling in love with everybody, you're fearing the new things that come in. All the stuff that they set up, they do that well. But even then, I feel there's moments where the even just the scene alone, right? Like Wicked, the first one, I have multiple moments where it's, oh, I like this, I like this. Taking Defying Gravity out, the scene where Glinda dances with Alpha and sorry if I excuse that name wrong because I on purpose say it to trigger my girl. So now I like like Mandela effect myself. But when they dance and there's this great moment of like, man, like the bonding, the friendship, and she puts herself out there. There's nothing like that in this, but that's where even then there's still the shit hasn't dropped yet in Wicked Part 1, right? You're kind of seeing everything. So at the end of that, when you get Defying Gravity and you literally get her in the air and she's staring down the wizard, it feels like it's on. And it feels like it's on for the first 20 minutes of this movie. But then, and this is like, I'm not going to use specific events. So luckily, like, if anything really spoilery, I will wait till the end. But characters like Alpha, I think kind of lose her agency in this. Like, it doesn't feel like the threat or that moment of defying gravity. It's the hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby thing. The person she is in Wicked Part 2 doesn't feel like that at all. I'm not saying she should be Wicked or the villain, even though this is my sports. She gets this whole sequence, this whole song, and I don't know, Mike, you can let me know if this is in the play or not. It's with her and the monkeys, and she's singing she's going to do no good whatsoever. She's just going to be bad and do bad stuff because the world's hurt her so much, right? That does not happen. like I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, this is how we get there, right? Because that was the joke for people that like myself not seeing the play of the sister, her. How do we get from this very nice person who's it's an allegory for racism, right? How do we get from this person who's trying to do good, might have an attitude, but a deserved attitude? How do we get from there to house falling on her and trying to kill Dorothy and a little dog and all this stuff, right? How do we get from there? And there's a part where I'm like, okay, I can see why we are going this route. It's a bit of a leap. That's the original movie and scene for the song. Okay, yeah, to me it did not play well for the story that followed that. I also think Glinda had one too where I'll talk about that in spoilers, but she had a song, and that one I think is from the play, where it's this big moment of her singing about something, but then the next scene, it kind of contradicts the way she's acting. So I think that's the thing where there's certain character changes or there's just certain decisions that happen and it feels very child film like, right? And that's fine if you're going for that market. I think Wicked feels like it's trying to be a bit older than that. Obviously, tons of kids love it, right? So for them, it works out that way. And I think my kids liked it for the most part. They have a few things, but that's the original song. Let's see. No, that's this is an original movie scene. That's an original song too. Oh, okay. Yeah, that didn't work. And like here, like again, I guess before I get into certain things, I just think there was some choices from the characters and in the moment or in the movies that played off like kid movies where why do I feel this way? Because I've changed. Okay, and that's what happens, right? And that's fine in an animated thing or kids 22 minutes, but for this, especially in the first one, I don't think the first one has that. I think for me what feels odd is visually and tone, like other than being darker, it does feel like the first Wicked. It still feels like John M. Chu directed both of them, right? The comparison I'm going to go to is the same way to me, the guy that directed Superman and the guy that directed Peacemaker, they are one and the same, but there's certain things they did with certain cameos or characters that were both in Superman and in Peacemaker. They felt like they were directed by different people. And that's where I'd say this feels like it's more like it's written by a different person. I don't think it is. Obviously, they're adapting it off the play, right? But just certain choices. It feels that some of the more mature aspects, even though it's still bewildering and there's almost like a fun childlike aspect to going to Oz, there was some grounded emotionality as far as being, not childlike, mature. And that's what I liked about the Wicked. It kind of struck a good balance, right? Where this at times the matureness just feels like it's just because it's dark, and then the real stuff. There's also one moment with Alpha that I cannot believe, and I don't know. Again, if it's like the play, it doesn't matter because I don't enjoy it either. To me, it should be something of like a very emotional moment. Really is nothing, and then we just go into like full comedy and laughs. And it felt like a different person was ahead of this or doing this, and it just was odd. So I think between sometimes the decisions and choices feeling kind of emotionally stunted, like I said, kind of, and like saying like a child's movie is more of a degrading thing. It's nowhere near as bad as a Minecraft, right? For me, Minecraft is low. This is like I still would pass it, and lots of it is more because of performances. I have nothing negative to say on anybody acting wise. I don't know. Maybe Bach or whoever it's Bach or Pock, whatever his name is. I think he's all right. He was in Gen V. He's in this. I don't know if he's the strongest, but everybody else I think is great, and they deliver that well. There's no issues there. That and I actually like Jonathan Bailey more in this one than the first one. That's more so because the storyline, right? And that's things where also, hey, I'm not a big musical guy, but like Defying Gravity, like everybody else does, but great song, right? There's other songs there that are great. So there's times where like Grease is an example. I don't like that movie. I think especially it's a very they made it a different time, but very dated. Very like there's times where we're talking about the girls singing. I said to Emily, like, it's one of her favorites, but I'm like, absolutely not. Like not right now, not at this age. Like there's just certain ways the men act and the women act towards the men as far as just like a following the big strong guy when it's just like, no, this guy's trying to do like, I don't know, a semi version of assault here. We can't. And once I wrote it down, she's like, "Oh yeah, I guess there's that." That same thing with me. Like I said last week, want to watch Edward Scissorhands. I'm like, right. There's some stuff in there that just doesn't play well. Not stuff you want a young child to gleam onto. And luckily, the movie has none of that. So, but I'm just saying that. Oh, I think I lost my train of thought there. But when I thought of fucking Grease, oh, what I was saying, the Grease I love a lot of those songs. I fucking love Summer Nights. I love The One That I Want. Even Rocky Horror Picture Show that I enjoy now more. I saw it for the first time because a lot of people told me, "Oh, you'd love it." I didn't know it was a musical, but this wasn't for me. And then as I got older, I enjoyed it. But in between time, I still love, Sweet Transvestite or Time Machine. So that's where for me, that's something that in Wicked, even Wicked Part 1, which I do enjoy, multiple great songs here, right? This is something where, okay, if I'm not enjoying the songs, then I really don't enjoy musicals. Like that's where it's really tough, right? Because at least even then, I don't maybe love the way people express themselves and sing and dance. It's somewhere, maybe sometimes I take some dialogue here. It's a genre. I do like it more as I've gotten a bit older, but it's still not something I would, if you're say, hey, Travis, you can never see another musical ever again, other than La La Land. And I guess there's some Disney stuff that can, but every time live action, other than La La Land, I I'm not gonna miss most of them, right? I'll be okay. So that's the thing where the songs are lesser. That's something, and the other part too with the first one that I thought was the weakest, and like they do it here. It's not awful, but again, there's some decisions and choices here made that I just think are a little underwritten. The love story in the first one to me was my least favorite part. I just liked the feud to the bonding of Albatha and Glinda, right? I didn't need the whole love triangle of, oh, he loves this girl, but really he doesn't, and this girl doesn't know because she's green, so doesn't think he love him. Like, and that's fine. If it's part of the play, that's okay. That's just not for me something that I enjoyed. So I didn't enjoy Jonathan Bailey in that role. Where this one, he kind of gets to be a bit more of like a hero per se. Like I was definitely seeing when people are wanting him for Batman. I had already seen it, but I'm like, okay, I could definitely stretch and get there, right? So those are my non-spoiler thoughts. I only recommend it if you really like that first one. If you're iffy about the first one, then no, I don't think this is going to be changing it. And to me, like I'll see how much the girls watch it, but if I ever watch Wicked, I really have no reason to go. Oh, I guess there's another point too that I'll make before getting on spoilers. I have no reason to watch Wicked Part 2. I think Wicked Part 1 ends on such a strong note, and even with the play, I'd be curious to watch it. Like it ends on such a strong note, and it feels like Alpha is so determined and so powerful to where we end up does not fit at all. So I'd rather just watch Wicked and be like, oh, that's the ending of this story. Is I don't know how she becomes the evil wicked of Witch of the West, but it's like something happens, she was betrayed, or even then if you just look at it as like she thinks Dorothy's with Oz, so therefore she's an enemy, right? Like I'd rather go just that route because that's one thing too. And I think the biggest things that felt like the Rise of Skywalker stuff. What song did you like the most? I think I'm gonna be like lame and just like everybody like the four good song at the end, but like I don't even like I think that's the only song that's memorable, and then the rest I didn't really stick with me. Like nothing really. There isn't anything I was humming. There's anything after Spotify one. After this, when I had to do recycling, I listened to stuff from the first Wicked one. Like that's where it made me miss watching the first part, Mike. So that's where I at least give it granted that way. I haven't rewatched it because I want to watch Knives Out before the new one, and Begonia's out on streaming after Hunt's out on streaming, or at least VOD. So I haven't watched it, but at some point I still got to see K-pop Demon Hunters too. So I got a long list of stuff I got to watch next little bit. But I think just that, but even that wasn't something I loved there. But the most Rise of Skywalker stuff, and this is stuff that I think could play better in a musical because you could have the laughs of the audience and it kind of like tongue in cheek. But in the movie, the Wizard of Oz stuff, it is clunky as can be, both from inputting it into the story and making it make sense for the other story. I think it's tough because Taylor asked me, like, what do they do? Do they do radical changes, or do they just stay very close to source material? And I think that's the issue. They kind of try to do both, in my opinion. You know, like in this sense, I would have just rather them do like a what if of like, oh, you've heard the story of the Wizard of Oz, but this is how it really went down, and telling the story of Elphaba being a good witch or not a bad guy. You know, like there's times where it feels like they're trying to stay very close to the original. And if that's the case, I don't know any of this works, and some certain character motivations work. And then other times they take radical stuff, like with Tin Man. So I did not enjoy any of that. I wish none of that existed. I wish, even going back to the Wicked play, I wish they never touch any of the Wizard of Oz stuff, and you just keep the story to Glinda and Elphaba. Like that's it. Like the Wizard of Oz stuff hurts it a lot. Like it's just, I don't know. It's just, it did not work for me at all. Superman Mike says they made the Tin Man origin cooler in the movie though. I'd have to see it. Hated that scene. I hated the sister subplot in the scene. That's a kid thing where it's just, the body horror thing, that's fine. But like, it's just like, I hate this person. I hate this person. What'd you do? I don't hate him. I hate him. Like it was all over the map. I could not lock in at all. And that was the first, like up until that scene, everything was fine. That was the first scene that I'm like, something seems afoot here. Like there's, I think there's stuff in the first Wicked movie that I didn't enjoy, or maybe wasn't like amazing, but I don't know if there's anything in the first Wicked that I absolutely thought, oh, this is really bad, where I had this a few times, right? So I'll take an ad break now. If you have not seen the movie, I'm trying to think if there's anything else, non-spoilers. Like I said, I think I'm like a 5. I'm a 5 out of 10. It gets the pass. That there's a reveal at the end. I was very close to the fail. I thought, no, don't let that lasting thing do it. It's still, because I looked at my Letterboxd 2 of movies that have failed this year. I'm like, no, like, it's not as low as that, right? But there's just some certain decisions, like a Rise of Skywalker, where that movie looks gorgeous. There's certain things, acting's still great. Ray's great, like Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver. There's things that are great about it, but then it's a big choice and the big swings that just miss. And that's how I kind of feel with Wicked For Good, I guess. I keep saying part 2, but that's how I feel. I'll do a little spoilers review here. So I'll take an ad break and then I'll be right back. And I'm back. I don't know if there's anything I missed on the box office that I was supposed to touch on. I don't know if there was, but yeah, to that Tin Man scene, like the sister and her just rolling out being like, I am the Wicked Witch of the East. All right, sure. That's where it feels like we're trying. And then she's not a witch. There's no one else around. She's not continuing to do like witchy things throughout. Like that's where it feels like such a leap to the Wizard of Oz stuff, right? It just doesn't work for me. And in that moment where, all right, and I knew it was going down. So obviously, I can't remember what the hell's his name, but Jonathan Bailey, he makes a run for it. He was never going to marry Glinda. He goes with Elphaba. I know they're going to get on the second he takes off his jacket. The second he removes the jacket and he has like a very loose fitting shirt, I'm like, okay, it's happening, right? So I'm just thinking, okay, what's this going to be like? It was bad enough I already had to watch the Wuthering Heights trailer with my 6 and 8-year-old. Luckily, this is very, other than seeing some Elphaba thigh, very right. I was calling him Ferrero Rocher. Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna forget that name. But so Jonathan Bailey, they get it on. You know the line. It was fun. It was like, oh, I've never felt so wicked before. Whatever she says. All right, cool. They get on. She has a vision. My sister's in trouble. Not dead, but in trouble. Okay. I don't know how that works. Maybe along the way she thought she was dead. Fine. So she gets there. Sister's dead. House there. Glinda's looking at her. She just talked to Dorothy, which was such a weird, like, I get what they're going for, but that's where I thought this would work better in a stage play where they cut to a scene and it's just Glinda being like, bye, Dorothy. Good luck. Have a good time. You see her from the back. You're like, okay, this is what we're doing, which is probably better than like the AI, generated Dorothy that we would have got, like Judy Garland, right? But still, it felt awkward already in introduction. And Alpha Lance, she sees her sister dead. So yeah, can I have a moment? Yeah, sure. It's pretty much like that cadence. If there was any acting I would pick apart, and I think this is pure them directing them, it was that. It was like Mike says the Ness stuff need more time to develop her going bad. Absolutely, she gets 2 scenes. She gets the one scene of Bach is gonna leave her, and he does, which was odd because he's like, "I'm never gonna see you again." Like he pretty much says, like implies like I gotta be moving on. And then when he comes back and says, "Hey, I gotta leave," she's like, "What do you mean? The last scene he just told you he was leaving, and now he's telling you you're leaving. You're surprised." Again, I digress. I don't know. There's just all and that whole Tin Man scene, back and forth with hating Alpha to "you're my sister," and this scene where Alpha lands and sees her sister dead in the house. I get they didn't have a good relationship, but not even a tear, not even nothing. She had bigger tears than by to Glinda, this person that she knew for a little bit of time. Nothing for her sister. And what does it lead to? Like a very cheesy comedic Alpha and her Glinda fight with their brawn, the wand / broom. I put the words together, not the wombs together. And it's like very over the top and very kiddie. And it's interesting because the first one had those type of vibes, right? And that's where it worked. In this, it didn't, right? And that's what I said, because Letterboxd now most of the time I don't I just drop like just a joke or say something very positive about a movie, right? I try not to do a bunch of negative stuff because I don't know, I don't need to. And I feel like it's easier to say it now in this form, right? Because you can have a bit more context to it. Crazy time for Alpha. I'm gonna heavily assume that she lost her virginity that night to Jonathan Bailey, and then she loses her sister. She assumes Jonathan Bailey's killed, and then she's about to fake her own death. It's crazy. Terrible first time fallout after all that, but she flies off, and Mike, I would like that. In the play, Alpha is angry when her sister dies. They downplay that a bit here. A bit. That's right, push back. I'd say a lot. She lands with like no emotion. She's like, "Can I say goodbye to my sister?" I just couldn't believe it. This is the take we have, right? And then they do that comedic scene, so that feels like that doesn't work at all either. And then it's just kind of choice after choice. And they do this multiple times too of, Bailey saves her by putting the gun up to Glinda and she gets away and he's stuck there, right? Or later or early on in the movie where they make the wizard get into a cage. Why isn't Alpha taking these people with her? Grab him by the fucking scruff. Why don't they take the wizard? These are more like minor gripes, but still it's stuff where it just feels very easy. It feels like this person that's so powerful has no power whatsoever. Like same thing, all these scenes with Wizard, and it just feels like no matter what, I'm gonna come after you till you're dead or die or stopped. Why does she give up at the end of this movie? Other than Michelle Yeoh, no one has these powers. She's looking like she's getting stronger. She's doing crazy stuff. Why does she just gonna give up and like, yeah, I'm just gonna run away? And I know you might talk about, oh, well, no one believes it's a witch. They think she's evil. Yet, I get that, right? I'm a fan of The Dark Knight. I understand. Batman took the fall. But I felt like the way it was presented here was not done good enough for me to believe that Alpha would not just continue to pursue the wizard, especially at the end of that first movie. Seems very defiant, very powerful. Here, not so much. Same thing when she gets back with Glinda and the wizard. And multiple people said this to me. Mike, you said this to me. Maybe it is that way in the play. I'm going to say you're all liars, or it's that way in the play. One of my biggest complaints in the first one was, this Glinda character, don't really like her, especially near the end, right? All these people are revealed to be doing these terrible things to the animals, lying with the wizard, etc., right? And then, I guess we'll get there, Mike. But like all the stuff. But Glinda's fine to sell out her friend, play along, and I've been told, well, it's for a reason. Well, she could be good on the inside, right? So I thought, okay, there must be reasons. I understand. We've seen this trope before where someone pretends to be bad and they're on the inside doing good stuff, right? Snape, Barbossa, these are characters, in history that have done these stuff. Many, big trope, right? She does nothing in this movie. It's like the meme of like the party's already over, but they're still there. At the end, when she finally realizes, hey, I got to do something, fucking, like, Alba's already made this plan. She's gonna fake her death and get out of here. She's gonna do this. She's gonna say, "Oh, it has to be a villain." Like Alpha's put everything into motion. Now, granted, sure, she gets the wizard to screw off, so that's one thing she does. But this idea of, and that's why I couldn't even be into this character in this part, because all this really bad stuff's going on. And when Alpha lands for the wedding, which that is a great scene. I like that. The first time they reunite and they're talking about the wedding and talking about, oh, you got to beat the wizard. We can figure something out. Da, 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 da. And when they have this meeting, Glinda feels just so, and that is part of the point of the character, right? I do understand, but because the point of the character is that I guess she's trying to see the good in all the situations, but then once it goes too far, she realizes she is on the wrong side and there's only so much she can do to help out, right? And she has to do more. She has to be better, take bigger steps, not just kind of be on the sidelines. But I feel like throughout the movie, and especially in the last one, some of these characters go too far that how much she puts up with it, I don't care about the Glinda character. It feels like she's just kind of pathetic, but not in the good way where it's like, oh, she's gonna have a redeeming like run. It just feels like at the end, yeah, sure, she gets the animals to live in the humanity with the humans, but it feels so after the fact, and it feels so little that I don't know. It just, everything now from part one with her and now with that doesn't feel like, oh, it's happening. Like all this stuff. Even then, and this is my point too of the original song. She gets left at the altar, right? She finally realizes, hey, he loves Glinda, or he loves Alba. I read that wrong, whether I was being played or whether that's his true love. Okay. She gets a whole song set piece about how he doesn't love her. But then the next scene is that scene that I talked about after the sister's death. They're together. And it feels like at one point, Jonathan Bailey says something and like Ariana Grande looks like, you love her? Like something like that. And it's like, yeah. You had a whole song sequence about this. Like I thought your character realized that. Like that's my problem is I find the character, because I know Chenoweth and I know the way they did in part one of her being a little ditzy or a little just kind of aloof, right? But I felt like they went too far to make her just kind of idiotic in this version. I did not get the sense of a hero waiting beneath the wings. I did not get a sense of a hurt hero who didn't see things clear, but now you move everything and she sees the direct line. I don't think the movie did a good job of executing that in the second part. Sure, part one might be the setup, but it does not play off that way. It just kind of feels like everything fell in her hands. And like, well, I guess I'll do this. And Alba did everything, right? Because you said because Alba knows Glinda can do more good if she thinks she's dead. I guess, like, sure, but fucking Alba's so powerful, and they make the wizard, even Michelle Yeoh at time, so kind of dumb. It just feels like you could easily overthrow these people and get the real message going, you know? And even then, like, that was the idea that before she saw the animals locked with the basement, the wizard was like, hey, we're just going to walk down together and say, this was a mistake, whatever. We're going to make up a story and say, Alpha's not bad. She's with us and we'll do so much magic for Oz. How can you still not do that with like Glinda with the fucking bottle, which we'll get into with this bottle? It's like, oh yeah, you killed your daughter and you did these bad things. You got to go. And he goes. Very easy. He has no reason to go right now. Michelle Yeoh has powers. Glinda does not. If he's an evil guy, he has way more power to do any of this stuff. And he just leaves Glinda just kind of like strong arms him a little. Versus the witch, who could do all this stuff, can't do it. Like, that's what I mean, where I agree with you, Mike. I understand what they're going for is that could be the cover and she could be the symbol of evil that we can fight against and unite everybody. I get that, right? But I don't think with the other characters that are opposing that, it doesn't seem that impossible. It doesn't seem like that's needed. And that's where even her sacrifice doesn't seem that needed. And man, my probably last spoiler thing, the reveal of, holy moly, I thought it was a trick. I was kind of hoping it was a trick where, okay, Alba dies, right? And I was happy because I didn't know. I legitimately didn't know anything. I was happy she was not dead and just faked her death because it felt like really over the top. I know it doesn't the original, but I felt it's odd for us to like Alba and then see Dorothy, this unknowing girl, kill her and like throw water on her. Like it feels odd. Obviously Dorothy doesn't know, but I was like, this is a really bad dark ending. Like I'm fine with the faking her death, everything Glinda and Oz, that's fine. So this happens and she leaves some green bottle there, right? And that's where I've only truly seen Wicked Part 1 once, so I'd have to go back, but I felt like they've missed some stuff here. And even then, if this happens in the play, I guess I'd have to see if it's throughout the play and the book so much. This idea, Glinda finds this bottle, and it looks like a bottle that the Wizard of Oz has, right? And they do this very bad CGI deep fake flashback to Jeff Goldblum on or a young person's body, right? So he is there, he's dancing, and I guess there's a woman with him. He has an affair with Alpha's mother. Let's see. You can actually hear Goldblum's voice at the beginning of part 1, so it isn't a big reveal. Okay, so I'll have to look out for that, right? But to me, it's just the reason why, even with that, if I know Goldblum was her dad, it doesn't serve anything. It feels very much like you're a Palpatine. Like, it's just like, guess what? that's her dad. And it's like, it changes nothing about the story. I guess that's what it does, right? It gets the wizard to run away because he feels that he's really screwed up what he do. But I think that they did not give Goldblum enough time in that scene and falling after, because Goldblum, for the most part, feels also aloof, but very comedic. Even when he's a bad guy, he's a comedic bad guy, right? He's making jokes. And I like him when he's in when he's in the cage and Glenda gets left and she's like, oh my God, like she's crying. And she's like, oh, I think I got a headache. He's like, oh, have some of this. It'll help you. Like, I like Goldblum. I think he's a perfect casting for the wizard. I just think it doesn't hit on the way that to make him leave Oz. It doesn't hit that knockout punch for me. And I just feel like that was something that was unnecessary. In the play, they don't explicitly say it, they just hint at it. Okay, and I just still even wonder in the play, like, what does it do? Because the crux of the thing is, Alpha gets there, she has powers, he doesn't, he's abusing people, she wants to help him. He's actually the bad guy, she's actually the good guy. What does the parentage do, right? Like, what is it even technically with the Rey Palpatine thing, what does that do? Nothing, right? Because they just said, like, they're a dyad in the Force, right? You could easily have had Palpatine know that and go, hey, I know what dyads fucking do. That's you two are together. Dyads can give me the life force back. Technically, there's nothing that Rey being a Palpatine does for the story. It just adds like a shortening the world, making it smaller. And to me, that hurts the first part a little bit in this movie, because obviously, like, so the play it's hinted at, but in the movie, it's like, that is her dad. And it just feels, it's like making the world smaller for an unnecessary reason, in my opinion. So when that happened, I was like, I'm failing this. It's over. It's done. And I guess I need that explained too. I understood, because Glenda says that, Mike, of like, oh, she's so powerful because she's of both worlds. Like, what is being from, like, your dad being Ozarian or whatever the hell they are, like, how does it get you more powerful, right? Like, I would feel like if we're looking like mutants or wizards, right? Like, oh, both Harry Potter's parents are wizards. That would make sense. They are more powerful, Harry, right? Why does someone being a human and someone being a wizard make them more stronger? Like, that I don't know. And that's not a big holdup for me. Sure, whatever the rules of the world are, you can do that. I just think that you could have made her dad at any point, like, just make her dad human then. I don't know. And I guess there's people specific, because it's Jeff Goldblum and her dad, are they not just humans? It's the same logic as Superman's son being half human makes him stronger, which I don't agree with. I don't understand. But Mike, this is like not a critique. What is, so like her, dad, her legal dad, and then the wizard, are they not just humans? Like, is technically being Oz like a completely different, like, not even just like species? Like that I'll say no, there's munchkins, I guess. So like, I thought the Oz guy, like the wizard, not the Oz guy, wizard is a human, and her dad was that. And maybe not. And maybe if that's the case, then sure. And again, that's not even the biggest holdup for me as well, because it's just the sense of, I get that. It makes her so powerful, but you don't necessarily even need that. Just say she's powerful. Like, it just doesn't change too much of the main story for me, right? To be a crux. It just feels like a reveal for the sake of being a reveal. So yeah, I thought I would like this one a little bit less, but I was still pretty let down by it all. I don't think I will watch this again. To me, I can happily watch part 1. And like I said, just go that way. Just say, oh, everything that happens, even if it's her faking her death and escaping with Jonathan Bailey, like I can whatever, headcanon that, or just it's a what if that's why she's the way she is, right? Okay, Ozarians are technically not human. I guess I'm with you. Okay, no, that's fine. And that's fine. That helps me a little bit, right? Because I thought they were just kind of saying of like, it's like if we're Canadian, Mike, and we have a child with Americans, like, oh, they're more stronger because American Canadian blood. I was like, is that how that works? But okay, if he's Ozarian, sure. There's something in the waters there that works between that and that. And like I said, it's an odd thing. So yeah, not like anything. This movie isn't like I said, when I say it has Minecraft Rise of Skywalker isms, it's not those levels. It's just that there's moments that feel like that, right? Where thoughts of Domingo cameo, I can't give them because I was not lying in the Discord because so what happened was girls were fine, got popcorn drinks, and then Logan right after Michelle Yeoh and Glinda have their scene about like, oh, you should just play your role. You'd be good. I like Michelle Yeoh in this movie. She's fun as just being an asshole, right? She should be a villain somewhere else. That's when she had to go to the washroom. So we're going. And then when I came back, it was the start of the scene of Alpha and Glinda talking and like talking about like what they're going to do and change it for good. And I have to die, all that type of stuff, right? Which I didn't agree with, but that's fine. So I missed when he actually spoke. So when I got back, and then because at one moment when I asked when she like misunderstood, said, "Oh no, he didn't talk." She thought it was a particular scene, but so I missed all of it. I even went on Twitter to look, because sometimes there's leaks. I went on Twitter to try and find the scene of it to hear his voice, and I didn't. So I missed that entire sequence because Logan had to go to the washroom, which, it's a longer like kids movie, right? Most of the movies they're seeing are like hour and a half, hour 40. So it was longer. They got treats. So obviously I know they will watch it again. So I'll look out for it then. But how is it for you, Mike? Because you were more like iffy about it. But yeah, and that's stuff that like I guess that's where the stuff where it's just like, yeah, it was two lines, which makes sense how I missed it. But that's where there's stuff like, oh, it's like the play and not when the Tin Man's like, and I'm gonna fucking kill Elpha, and she's the worst person. I was like, this is like, Tin Man's not acting like this in Wizard of Oz. And that's where I just wish it was like a whole distorted kind of version of it, like a multiverse what if in Wizard of Oz. Not trying to kind of interlinking it with that. Like that just didn't really work for me there, right? And that it just kind of felt a little cheesy, that scene too. But yeah. It was an interesting watch. This was one that I regretted not going the first one in the theaters, and I regretted going this one. But then I didn't today, like I said, when I got to school with the kids, because I knew that I had said on the first one of the newscasts or whatnot that my sister's taking them. We haven't told her that they've seen them, so hopefully she doesn't see this broadcast. But then she's like, "Oh yeah, 3 weeks from like 3 weeks, like." People from school are going to see it. They want to talk about it. Like I said, the second Logan, I didn't, because with Gwen and Logan, they're on different sides of school. I walk Logan because she's younger. Don't know what happened with Gwen, but right when they saw, like, did you see Wicked this week? Did you see Wicked? And they talked about it. So I was like, yeah, like, I don't want her to miss out. And some kids suck, right? Some kids are like, oh, well, this happened, this happened. For them, they don't know everything. And even I didn't know stuff, right? So after I was like, you know what? I don't regret it. I'm very happy I took them so they could talk about it with their friends. And it's still a fun time. Like, I still, like, they had a good time. I wasn't at least bored by it or anything. Like, there's worse things I've seen in theater this year. There's worse thing I've seen in other stuff. You got your great dad points. Yeah, and that's what it's for, right? Like, that's the same thing. Like, I've still never fully rewatched it, but I remember really enjoying Thor: Love and Thunder, but that's because I saw it with Gwen, and we had a good time there, right? Like, think about that scene at the end when all the kids get the powers and fight. So I remember walking and be like, oh, I loved it. Like, that was a great time. Where now, I think I watched, like, the first act, I was like, oh, yeah, like, maybe not the greatest, and I've seen some points that people have, but that's where all the time seeing a movie in the theaters is better, right? And hearing, I was hoping they hit a couple notes of Defying Gravity. I was hoping they'd run it back because I wasn't there the first time, so I was hoping they were going to do that, and they did not. There are just a few bars of it, but yeah, no, that's my thoughts on Wicked. So yeah, I did not. Kudos to you, Mike, for sticking through. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I can see why you could give it like a 5 on yours perspective, because we all have that, like, those type of stuff, right? Where there's things that just hit like I'm that way with Wallace and Gromit, where like the newest Wallace and Gromit, I think it might be one of the more weaker ones that they've done, but they still hit on all the isms, and I enjoy the humor, I enjoy the character beats. That's like, yeah, this is fine, like this hits exactly what I want. So that's where I'm curious to end up talking more people like Mike that really enjoy the play and how they feel about this. And I think most people might be, in line on the liking side, where someone like myself definitely enjoyed that first one. This one, I was kind of hoping it would be more of the same, but not so much. Performances are great. I will be very curious. Obviously, all the production stuff they're going to get for Oscar season. Now it's a question of what happens with the other stuff, right? I think there'll be some nominations, but I don't think Best Picture. I think Grande's getting the Best Supporting nom, but I don't think a win. I think the movie's going to lose some steam, and I think Amy Madigan. I still think Tiana Taylor. Like, I think there's a good chance with how the movie performed critically and how it is kind of relevant. He thinks he's getting it. I would pizza bet you, Mike. I would pizza bet you that she's not getting that. I do think it's a bit of a smaller field this year, so I think there's a chance. But I think something like One Battle After Another, I think that is prime opportunity for Tiana Taylor to get, because I think it's going to sweep a lot. I think it's going to hit a lot of just, yeah, right, that category. Like, I just think it hits with a lot of political stuff that people lean in that way, right? So that's it. So yeah, I guess both Travis Told Yous this week are review. So there's my thoughts on the box office and Wicked for Good. I'll do Stranger Things Volume 1 later on this week. And if there's any big news, we'll incorporate that. But thank you everyone that listened much. Thank you everyone. Mike, thank you for just being a co-host for this, being my person to throw to some questions and whatnot in this. And yeah, hopefully after 9 we'll book for December and we can actually talk about plus one's more people have seen it. But yes, I'll be back on Wednesday and I promise you it'll not be boring.